the fact of the matter is we had a very successful session. We came a long way, and as we stand here together, looking back over the things that we've done, we still have a bit further to go. This special session is going to be about putting the finishing touches on what we already know and perceive as a truly historic legislative session. We passed a budget that cuts spending in Texas, maintaining our essential services, keeping taxes low, preserving more than $6 billion in emergency funding that will be very handy if the national economy continues to slump or if we face a major national or natural disaster. By balancing our budget without raising taxes, Texas once again will stand in stark contrast to states that choose to burden their residents with higher taxes and onerous regulatory mandates. We're doing it exactly the way that we said we would. Over the last year that all the members of the legislature and the administrative side of the House campaigned, we talked about prioritizing, we talked about cutting spending, we talked about tightening our belts. In the end, we followed the clear directions laid out by the voters of Texas, who told us in no uncertain terms last November that they wanted a leaner, more efficient state government and no new taxes. Thanks to the leadership of the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker, we prepared the members of both the House and the Senate and worked with them, and we are prepared to deliver just that. If all we do is hold the line on taxes, if all we do is balance a budget exclusively by cutting spending, I think that would represent a pretty amazing accomplishment. However, the 82nd legislature has been a great deal more than just that. We passed a loser pays component to our legal system that allows judges to quickly dismiss meritless lawsuits, serves notice on those seeking to hit that home run in the courtroom that they can be on the hook for their opponent's legal fees if they come up short. New eminent domain reforms were passed into law, ensuring property owners get a fair deal when they're negotiating their property sale, and that an owner can buy back their property at the same price that it was sold for if that property goes unused. Also passed was a bill requiring voters to present a photo identification before casting their ballot, preserving the integrity of our voting process. I was proud to sign the legislation requiring anyone seeking an abortion to be required to have a sonogram, ensuring that that individual has all the facts and understands the full impact of the life-altering decision that she's about to make. Legislature passed and I signed the important new laws that will combat the modern-day slave trade of human trafficking, giving prosecutors new tools and the added ability to send those criminals to jail for a very long time. Those are just a few of the more notable accomplishments of this session. Among the many steps we've taken to place Texas on the path to even greater prosperity in the years to come. And I look forward to these lawmakers taking quick action on the few but important issues that remain before them. And to add to that, I'd like to introduce the presiding officer of the Texas Senate, Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst.
Governor, thank you so much. Thank you. I just want to build a little bit on what Governor Perry said and thank him for being such a good partner, he along with Speaker Straus in this session. I've enjoyed working with both of them. I think this special session is a golden opportunity for us to build on what we've already accomplished. I think we all believe, we know that Texas is a great state, and we're going to make it even greater. You know, about 6 months ago, a lot of folks were complaining about the fact that we had a $20 to $27 billion deficit. Well, along the way, we cut spending in all funds by some $15.1 billion, the largest cut in spending in the history of the state of Texas. And yet we will provide over $3 billion more dollars to our foundation school program. This next biennium, 2012-2013, over what we appropriated this biennium. Bet you don't read that in the newspapers, do you? $3 billion more. We care about our school children. We want to make sure that they get a great education. We are not going to retreat from our principles, Governor Perry, Speaker Straus, or myself. We are not going to raise taxes. That's why we wrote a compassionate budget, a budget that provides more resources, more investment in Medicaid and helping people at the same time, $3 billion more into our foundation school program. We're not going to renegotiate the budget. We're going to move Texas forward. Now, over the last several days, there were some in the legislature that wanted to run the clock out. Just stall and run the clock out. Well, the three of us, I'll speak for myself, we don't intend to do that. We're going to go into overtime. We're going to win because we're Texans, and Texans don't give up.
And now from the Speaker of the House, Joe Straus. Joe.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I don't have a lot to add to what my two partners told you, but just from the House's perspective, I felt like we had a very, very good session. I complimented every member of the House. I thought that we had done our jobs extremely well, very efficiently. We passed a balanced budget. We didn't raise taxes. We stayed focused and disciplined, and we will continue to. I think that the items that are on the call from the governor are familiar territory for us in the House. I expect no problem getting through this work in an efficient way, in a transparent way. We will be holding hearings and have full discussion and debate on the issues, even if they are familiar territory and familiar issues in the House. But I think that we passed not just on the fiscal side of the House, literally, good legislation, but we passed good policy too, and we will continue to do that throughout the days that it takes to get through this special session. I can't tell you that the 150 citizen legislators of the House are thrilled to be spending extra time in Austin, but our dedication and our commitment to finishing the job for the people of Texas remains. Thank you.
David, Joe, thank you both for your work over the last 140 days. And with that, we'll open it up to those of you in the working press to ask any questions of us.
Governor, any shock about expanding this call?
Well, obviously, the governor always has it's their prerogative to add to a call, and we have our work at hand. And I assure you, you'll be some of the first to know if we decide to expand the call in any way.
You mentioned windstorm being a high priority from before the session ended. Is it still that stuff?
Yes, sir.
We're going to look at
It is still a very important priority, but again, at an appropriate time, we will address that issue. I don't know whether it'll be within the next few days or if it'll be later in the summer. We need to have a windstorm insurance association bill finalized and in place before hurricane season starts, and that's just around the corner, as most Texans know.
Are you looking at the possibility of dealing with the issues on your call in this session and then perhaps calling the second session?
Well, that's always an option, but you know, as the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker both said, that there is not a great deal of excitement about being back here. A lot of this work could have been finalized on Monday, yet you know, a member of the Senate decided that they wanted to make a statement, and whatever that statement was, I disagree with it. We're back here expending extra dollars, and taken people's time when we could have finished that work on Monday. But I'll let that individual explain what their thought process was.
Mr. Governor, that particular senator says that she thinks she might still have a shot at getting her viewpoint put across with a 2/3 vote on the education.
Good. That's why we have an open and transparent and democratic process.
What's the importance of having a windstorm insurance about this hurricane season? Will it change anything for any storms and claims that happen in summer?
Well, my interest is giving the people of the state of Texas who do have that their houses in that part of the world that there is an agency that is well run and that is in place. And it's also important for people who are not in that part of the state, but that could be held liable, because at the end of the day, the state of Texas is the insurer of last resort. And for us to just basically say to the folks up in Amarillo or El Paso, you know, we didn't get around to putting the protection and the insurance in place, and we had a Category 5 storm hit the Houston ship channel, and billions of dollars of damage was done, then that's, from my perspective, rather irresponsible. So sometime this summer, hopefully sooner rather than later, the Texas legislature will address and pass appropriate windstorm insurance legislation.
Governor, as you move into the thinking about phase of about running for president, what makes you think you can beat Barack Obama?
Well, the real key here is that we still have work to do. And as I've said a number of times, I'm not going to be distracted by talk or machinations or what have you until we get this work done. I'm really focused on making sure that we get these pieces of legislation that are important to the people of the state of Texas. It's what they hired us to do. Talk to me after the session's over with.
Can I ask a question about your charge? You said you wanted more education efficiency. You wanted that included in what the lawmakers are considering. Are you talking about the furlough pay cut issue, or is there something else there?
Well, I'll leave that to the members of the legislature. They're rather wise and capable, and we try to write the calls with specificity, and I'm sure there will be some very innovative and maybe even outside the box legislators that says this is what it means. That's what parliamentarians are for. Thank you all for coming and being with us today.